Welcome to Night Shadows. I'm Stuart Best, where the paranormal is normal, where that which you thought you knew, you didn't, and where the future can be known if you know exactly where to look.
Well, good evening, everyone. This is a short flash update. There's a fair amount going on around the world. A lot of this stuff appears to be diversionary tactics. We got Larry on board to bring us up to date on what's really cooking out there. Why don't we start, Larry, with North Korea? That situation seems to be right at a flashpoint. What do you think's going on there?
Well, it is a flashpoint, and what's interesting is it's being reported that South Korea now has said North Korea has stopped all dialogue with them, and they're preparing Seoul possibly for an attack from the north. And then at the same time, you've got this so-called naval drill going on around South Korea, but this time the drill appears more real because they brought in hospital ships and other ships and simulating evacuations of Seoul and South Korea in an attack. So this is very interesting, and of course at the same time, Stuart, is not only South Korea has their elite units ready for a decapitation move, there are reports of Navy SEAL teams coming in also, including submarines.
Well, how do you think Kim is going to respond? I mean, I can't imagine a guy just sitting there and letting this happen. If they make an attempt, what's he got to lose? Let's put it this way. If he figures out they're going to get him, what's he got to lose by responding with force? Because he doesn't care about his people. That's probably the least of his concerns.
Well, that's very true, and that's the dangerous part, because there basically is no dialogue. There is no diplomacy operating. It's strictly, and of course his latest threat, Kim's latest threat to the United Nations was that he may have to just nuke any of U.S. allies involved in the UN. And, of course, he's threatening Australia. He's threatening the UK. So, he doesn't have a lot to lose. He's almost threatened everybody around him now.
So what's the latest from Trump? I really haven't heard that he said much of anything other than the fact he's not going to tell anybody what he's going to do. But the rhetoric has come to the point where he almost has to do something, or Kim has to do something. In other words, they're trapped by their own words.
Well, there is a very cryptic supposed insider report that has come out from a so-called general of some sort in the media claiming that this is scripted. In other words, it's scheduled to happen, and it's not going to be really put off. So this U.S.-North Korean confrontation is probably imminent to some degree. Now, they say that North Korea has missiles prepped for a salvo firing, and possibly at Guam or in that region. So I guess we're just waiting.
Wow. Well, I guess we'll just have, like you say, all we got to do is wait and see what happens. I mean, we've been what people thought was, tomorrow, and absolutely nothing happened. Trump didn't do anything, and Kim didn't do anything. Have you heard any more about his missiles? Is he? I had heard reports that he was moving missiles around, getting ready for firing, or possibly even another nuke test. I know they did have an earthquake over there that they thought probably was an underground test of some sort. Are there any more rumbles or reports of missile movements?
It's been very difficult because apparently the last few days, not only has Kim but also his scientific advisors, the nuke people, are what we call rocket men, have gone underground, so to speak, and they're not being observed above the ground in movement. So something is up.
Wow.
You know, and of course we have a new nuclear submarine also off the coast of the Korea Peninsula now too. Plus Japan is operating out from a base offered to them by Russia. So this is very intriguing where this appears to be going.
That is kind of odd. Why would the Russians have anything to do with Japan? Of course, I've always thought this whole thing was a trap, and as you just said, it's probably scheduled, according to an insider. They probably already know what date they're going to launch, and just we don't, I guess. But we don't seem to know a lot about what the Illuminati's dates are. You find out after the fact, not ahead of time, kind of like the Bible codes. You know, they're far more accurate behind when it's 20/20 hindsight than it is foresight. Speaking about that, has anybody else come out with anything on the Bible codes concerning this North Korean thing other than what we had from Barry? That about it, I take it?
Yeah, I haven't seen one mention. I do know that Richard has some new Torah codes from Laserson, but he's not able to release them yet. And, you know, of course, I don't know what all's going on there. And there's a lot of intrigue happening in that part of the world right now. So we're waiting and we're moving, you know, 5777 to 5778, and I guess the countdown is on, so to speak. But there's a lot moving on. In the Middle East is really hot.
Yeah, let's get into that. What you got on the Middle East? You've been following that really close.
Yeah, well, we've got a very interesting scenario. When Trump came out against the Iranian nuclear deal, Iran began using their Quds Force Revolutionary Guard General, Qasem Soleimani, and people have heard of him. Deo said, watch that guy, and that's the one they're using. But suddenly now our ally, who are the Kurds in, Syria and southern part of Turkey, I guess, and Iraq, they've come under attack. Soleimani, it appears, has embedded Iranian troops and militias within the Iraqi military and are attacking the Kurd forces in Iraq around the Kirkuk area, and also Turkey is moving armed forces and tanks down into Syria. And I suppose now that Trump's coming against Iran, Iran is moving their surrogates to surround the Kurds. We don't know which way this is going to go, but it may be moving a little towards Daniel 8.
Yeah, I can't imagine that if we have fireworks in Korea because of the closeness of the Iran-North Korea alliance, which is basically what it is, this may be a two-pronged deal where war breaks out just about everywhere. You know, your friend had that vision of war everywhere. So it seems like maybe the North Korean thing is to trigger, and then it very rapidly escalates into, the Armageddon script. And it would be confusion and chaos everywhere in the world, I guess. What do you think?
Well, it's interesting also. I'm getting reports from Israel that they're holding their breath and paused on, going to war there. We know the Iranian surrogates there, Hamas and Palestinians and Hezbollah and the Syrian forces and all of that are really moving close to the Israeli border. And recently, the last 24 hours or so, Damascus, Syria, some of their missile batteries had opened fire and fired missiles on Israeli warplanes over Lebanon. And, of course, Israel sent planes and wiped out their missile sites. So, this was by Damascus. I mean, we got this interplay going on in the middle of this thing. And, of course, we have the Russian defense minister he's in Israel at the moment having meetings, high-level meetings with Netanyahu and others. So there's something big going on in that whole region. Now, there are rumors, and I want to repeat, this is only a rumor, that there has been some kind of deal possibly made to where if the U.S. has to take on Iran, let me straighten that out. If the U.S. has to take on North Korea, that Israel will hit Iran. So we're just watching. We do know that that after Trump came into office, there's been a number of F-35 warplanes outfitted in Israel for the Israelis.
Mm-hmm.
So those are attack planes.
Wow. Well, that could break. We could have war anytime, and the timeline is almost perfect for it to break out within the next week, month, or whatever. But I would say before the end of December, we're going to have seen some major conflict. What's this deal with NASA and Planet 9? Which is very, very interesting also on the timing. Why are they announcing this giant planet? Now, what's your take on what did they say anyway?
Well, it's very interesting, actually. They're reporting, let's see here, the headline basically says, that NASA has verified a Planet 9. They're saying that this Planet 9 is in the outer reaches of the solar system, and they're calling it this Planet 9. Of course, we know that's probably a smokescreen for the destroyer, or
yes.
Nibiru, or in the entourage, as we would say. But they're indicating this object, whatever it is out there that far, is 10 times the size of Earth. Now, here's another interesting thing too. I know we don't have much time, and we can explore more of this later. But
yes.
There's a new report out. Let's see if I can find it here real quick. Listen to this. It says, update. This is from Skywatch TV, Tom Horn. He says, update on countdown to official disclosure. A manager of the Department of Defense Aerospace Threat Program says that alien craft are real and unsure if they pose a threat, and a film that is forthcoming will be released in collaboration with the U.S. government. And, of course, Skywatch TV has got some special notices on this, but apparently Tom Horn is saying this may be a disclosure that we hadn't planned for by the government. Now, I know NOAA said no disclosure, and we still
yes.
don't know, but with changes under Trump, number 45,
yes.
I asked Augusto Perez about could the timeline change that happened change how disclosure came, and he said that was possible. So what do you think?
Mm-hmm. Okay, gravity waves, too, they announced. So that's kind of interesting in view of the rapture and what I guess you could say the paranormal seers have said about gravity waves and the disappearance and the vanishing. So that's come out too, I guess. What's going on in California, quick?
Okay, real quick, they thought they had some of the fires under control. They found out now suddenly there was a change in the fire zones, and they lost control of all the fires. And not only that, they've got 2 brand new fires operating now in California along with the rest, and they are absolutely not able to control these fires.
Wow. Well, folks, the proof is in. Basically, these are either laser from satellite or they are particle beam weapons of some type. And the proof is mounting, and people have even said they have seen a flash of a light and then comes the fires. It has all the earmarks. But anyway, we will try and get back here at least on Friday, maybe even tomorrow. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again. Thanks a lot, Larry.